what I would like to do for question 1b is a little bit different to how I would usually do it. But I want to see if it maybe approaching it in this way allows you to see it from a different perspective, because I have covered a lot of the stuff with you before, and I've shown you how to do this. But if I show you the same way to do it every time, sure, then you learn. But if I show you different ways to do it, you can see, okay, there's not just one way to do it. There are different options, and the different options ultimately have different people that they're going to work for, right? So you guys cool with me approaching this in a very experimental way? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by creating a table. And this is actually where I'm just going to make a bunch of notes. Now on this side, I'd like to add another column and call it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a text and I'm going to just explore a couple of things in the text. So I'm going to basically try to analyze this out in a table. And I've made some worksheets for you guys in the past where I have analyzed things in a table. It's not my favorite way of working. I don't think in tables. But I mean, some of you might. Okay. So what we're going to do is our question says, compare your email with the article, analyzing form, structure, and language. So what we need to do is we need to really compare, okay? Compare. So to compare, we need to take two things, place them side by side, and see what are the differences and similarities. But we mustn't stop there. We must also look at why these similarities and differences exist. So are we going to say, okay, well, words are a language feature. The article uses the word the 33 times. What did we supposed to write? The letter to the editor uses the word the 13 times. What is the effect of this? No, we are not. That is not the goal. We are looking at how did they use language to specifically interact with their audience and make their audience aware of something, achieve the effect, okay? Or achieve what they were going for. So I'm actually going to add another, okay. So I'm going to just, as I go through this text, I'm just going to write down everything I see. Okay. I think I've got a couple of notes here, actually. So I'm going to just start with my notes. So my article had a rhetorical question at the very beginning. So do we really have to wait until we are 82 to find peak happiness? So that is a rhetorical question. I'm going to have to just copy and paste. So my structural feature, okay, so the language feature is we've got a rhetorical question in the title. Structurally, it's places us. Okay. So it places us in a position of questioning from the outset and gives some indication of what to expect. I also want to just talk about the use of really. Okay. So this is one way to do it, and I'm going to see how it goes. So let's do this one thing complete. So we've got the rhetorical question in the title. It places us in a position of questioning from the outset. The form feature, is this relevant to the form? Okay. So what do you think? Is this relevant to the form? Does this help achieve the purpose of the article? Everyone is silent today. Okay. So in terms of achieving the purpose, I would say that got another point here. I'm going to do one with you, and then I want you guys to work through it on your own with me. I'm going to do points, you're going to do points, and we're going to add our points together, whoever has got what points. But obviously, my points are going to be on my article. I'm going to write in the article, but then I'm also going to compare it to my piece. So I wouldn't be able to, you're not going to compare it to my piece, you're going to compare it to your piece. What do you expect to journey through the text? I'm just writing this and I'll explain it. Okay. So I take that. I'm going to say, so it draws readers' attention. It should actually be the effect, but I said it draws readers' attention and informs their expectation, but it also introduces them to the idea that this is a discursive article rather than just purely factual. Because it is posing a question, it is going to answer that question. But then I also went a little bit further because I may or may not, I'm not sure at this point, whether I'm going to explore the impact of technology on our form and how technology has influenced our language, um, and how it continues to influence our language. Like over here, I said something risky. I like to add something risky. The emphasis on a question as a title is similar to how people approach the internet in our day and age, with a question. So here it may be that technology has influenced how we approach the form. So that's just a side note. But this exam isn't actually looking at change in language and stuff like that. It's just a nice thing, especially for the A-level students to be aware of. Now, it does contain the tenets of clickbait, which may be relevant to people of an older generation. Older generation of people, the people who are more likely to read a print version of a newspaper, are the ones more likely to be drawn in by clickbait because they haven't learned necessarily how to fact check. So I can explore that. I don't think I'm going to go down that rabbit hole, but I'm just writing down my thoughts here. And even if I don't use these thoughts, writing down these thoughts opens up my brain. And in your exam, you're not going to get time to write all these things. So I want shorthand notes. Make notes in the margins, draw circles, whatever. Like draw attention to things. If it's going to help you to create a structured thing like this, then do it. Remember, it should take you longer to plan than to actually write. You would probably be able to write about 800 words in about 20 minutes if you know what you're going to say. The problem is often people don't know what they're going to say. So if you spend your time planning instead of just jumping in and writing, you're going to have a better form thing. Now, a lot of people won't do the planning because they'll say, "Oh no, it's a waste of time." And I mean, that's fine, you do you, but I don't think that it is necessarily the best decision. Does that make sense? Then what was done kind of answers this what effect thing. The purpose also is filled in there. The relation to audience I have also included here. Let's see if there's anything else here. Yeah, so I've got my relation to audience. I'm just going to add here with my relation to audience. Okay, so this question involves the audience in the discussion from the outset. Okay. Now, what I would do here, which, I mean, you don't have to do it this way. I could explore the use of really in the rhetorical question, great. But what I would like to do is I'd like to go to my piece that I wrote, okay? And look at features, this feature, and where I have something similar or something different in my piece. Okay. So I'm going to do, dear editor, in reading your publication's recent article entitled, do we really have to wait until they are okay? So I probably would have added a subject line. And like while I'm doing this, by the way, while I'm doing this question 1b, I would add my subject line because I'd be like, okay, I don't have a subject line, so I can't actually talk about it. So I'm actually going to make it very formal, and I'm going to say, okay, so key problems in the article about happiness. So that's going to be my subject line. And I'm actually going to say, this is for my letter. I'm going to, at this point, compare my audiences. So my audience is the editor, right? Okay. So my audience is the editor. It is, secondly, the original author. And it is also the general public, or if it gets posted in newspaper. But there, if I wanted posted in the newspaper, I would generally say open letter to the editor or something like that. Okay. So my audience is my editor, my original author. Now, what is something that we need to know about? What is something that the audience has in common? The audience of both, they both have limited time to read things and they've got limited attention spans. Okay. Are we all in agreement there? I can't hear you today. No, I don't know. Is everyone talking? Can everyone hear me? Okay. Okay. So they've got limited time and they've got limited attention spans. And so the fact that I used my title, my subject line, again, also provides the author with a clear expectation and shows what the editor can expect upon opening. Okay. And so that's one thing that it does, but it doesn't. The fact that it doesn't have, the reason it doesn't have like a rhetorical question is because the form is different. So the lack of rhetorical question, or actually, let's just say the informative statement. So it illuminates the, okay. So what I've done here is I've now immediately compared the two. Oh wait, this is the problem. It should be. So my audience, I just want to say here, my audience has limited time, limited attention spans. And so here I am drawing a comparison, okay? But at the same time, I'm drawing, so I'm drawing a comparison between the audiences, but I'm also drawing, pointing towards the differences between the audience, between the form, because the one allows for things like a rhetorical question to start, and the other one doesn't really. Does that make sense? So, do you think that that method of doing it would like actually help you to kind of structure your thoughts a little bit? While I was working through some of your things, what I was noticing is that you guys have a bunch of points, but you're not connecting your points. And what I've done here is I have connected these points. I've taken this thing and I've immediately connected it to the letter. You see that? And I mean, if I'm able to follow through the whole time doing that, then I'm able to have a very balanced approach. However, where I could also go wrong here from this point is I could go through the whole thing and just point, and then my thing doesn't work together as a whole. Every paragraph needs to link to the next paragraph. And I found that often you guys struggle with your writing in that you don't connect your thoughts. And so it's kind of all over the place. And so you've got point after point after point after point, but I have no idea how you got from this paragraph into this paragraph because an essay always leads into itself or leads into like what it's supposed to be doing. Does that make sense? Like one thought should go into the next.